You've killed lavender before, maybe more than once. Bought it looking perfect at the nursery, brought it home, planted it carefully, watered it like you were supposed to, and watched it turn brown and collapse anyway. And here's what I need you to hear before anything else. It wasn't you. The advice most people follow when growing lavender is genuinely backwards. You were doing things the other way around. And I'm going to show you 5 secrets that actually fix it, counting from 5 to 1, and number 2 is the one that surprises almost every gardener who hears it. But stay until the very end, because I'm saving one mistake for last, the kind that kills lavender so quickly and so completely that most people don't even realize what happened until it's already dead. Before the secrets, you need to understand why lavender fails at such a staggering rate. It's one of the most purchased ornamental plants in the United States every single year. Millions of plants sold. And most of them don't survive their first full season, not because people aren't trying, because everything they're told to do, water regularly, use rich soil, add compost, plant in a sheltered spot, is exactly wrong for lavender. Every instinct that works for vegetables, for herbs, for most ornamentals actively destroys lavender. You've been following good gardening advice, it just happens to be the wrong advice for this specific plant. Here's the thing about lavender that changes everything once you understand it. This plant is native to the rocky hillsides of the Mediterranean. Not a garden, not a raised bed, a hillside. Thin, rocky soil, almost no rainfall through summer, full, relentless sun for most of the day, extreme drainage, constant wind, conditions that would kill most of what's in your garden. And in those conditions, lavender doesn't just survive, it grows massive. It lives for decades. It blooms so prolifically the hillsides turn purple. The moment you move it into rich, moist, protected garden conditions, you've taken a plant built for hardship and put it in conditions it wasn't designed to handle. Most gardeners treat lavender the same way they treat everything else, and that's the root of the problem. Lavender doesn't want what other plants want. It doesn't need what other plants need. The approach that makes your tomatoes thrive will kill your lavender. The conditions your roses love are conditions lavender cannot survive in long term. You're not a bad gardener, you've just been applying the right techniques to the wrong plant. And once you understand what lavender actually needs, which is closer to neglect than care, the whole thing clicks into place. So let's go through the 5 secrets, starting at number 5 and working down to number 1. And before we get into them, I want to tell you one more time about what I'm saving for the end. There is one specific mistake that people make, usually well-meaning, usually thinking they're helping, that kills lavender so permanently and so quickly that there is no recovery. Once it happens, the plant is gone. No amount of better care afterwards saves it. I'll tell you exactly what it is at the end of this video. And if you've ever wondered why your lavender seemed totally fine one week and then suddenly dead the next, that mistake is probably why. Keep watching. Now, before I start, a quick word on why lavender specifically is worth getting right. At current nursery prices, a decent lavender plant runs $8 to $15. Most people replace theirs every season or two. Over 5 years, that's potentially $50 to $100 or more just replacing the same plant because the conditions were never fixed. A lavender plant grown correctly can live 20 to 30 years. Same plant, same spot, getting more beautiful every year. The economics of understanding this once and getting it right permanently are genuinely compelling. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of content, practical systems, real results, no fluff. I cover what actually works in a backyard context without the overcomplicated advice. Now, let's get into it. At number 5, variety selection. And this one catches people off guard because most gardeners don't think variety matters much with lavender. It matters enormously. There are hundreds of lavender varieties. The ones sold at big box stores and most garden centers are chosen for how they look at the point of sale. Big blooms, great color, attractive in a 4-inch pot. They're not chosen for your specific climate. And that mismatch is behind a significant percentage of lavender failures before conditions even enter the picture. You can get soil, water, and sun exactly right and still lose the plant if the variety can't handle your winters or your humidity. The cold hardy varieties. For zones 5 through 7, Heathcote and Munstead are your starting point. Both are English lavender varieties, both handle cold, imperfect drainage, and less than perfect conditions better than almost any other lavender. Hidcote is more compact. Munstead is slightly larger and often the better choice for cut flowers. Either one is dramatically more forgiving than the prettier French and Spanish varieties that dominate retail displays. For truly challenging cold climates, Zone 5 especially, phenomenal lavender was bred specifically for American growing conditions and has the best cold hardiness track record of any widely available variety. For Zones 8 through 10, Spanish and French lavender handle heat and mild winters well, but don't survive hard freezes. If you're in the hot, humid South, this is where lavender gets genuinely difficult. Humidity promotes the fungal disease that kills lavender regardless of drainage and soil work. In humid zones 7 and 8, phenomenal is again the best available option. It doesn't love humidity, but it tolerates it better than every other common variety. And in the Pacific Northwest, English varieties with excellent drainage are your best bet in a challenging, cool, wet climate. Number 4. Pruning. And I want to stay on this one for a minute because there is one cut, one specific wrong cut, that kills lavender permanently and instantly. If you make it, there is no recovery. The plant is dead. I'll tell you what that cut is right now because it's that important. Lavender has 2 zones on every stem, a woody brown base and a green living zone above it. Cut into the wood, the bare brown growth at the base, and lavender cannot regenerate from that point. It simply stops. No new growth, no recovery, dead. The rule is absolute. Never cut below the green. Leave green on every stem, every single time. When to prune? Twice a year for the best results. First pruning, right after the first bloom flush in early summer. Cut back the spent flower stalks plus about a third of the green growth above them. This encourages a second bloom cycle and prevents the plant from going woody too quickly. Second pruning, a light shaping pass in early fall to tidy the plant before winter. Never prune in late fall or winter. The foliage protects the crown through cold months. Remove it too late in the season and you expose the plant to winter damage it wouldn't otherwise suffer. Number 3. The biggest one. The one that saves more lavender than everything else on this list combined. Stop watering it. Almost literally. The number 1 killer of lavender in American gardens is not drought. It's root rot from overwatering. The symptoms of overwatering and underwatering in lavender look almost identical. Wilting, browning, slow collapse. So people see a wilting lavender, assume it needs water, add more, and accelerate the death. If your lavender is wilting and the soil is moist, stop watering immediately. You're not saving it, you're finishing it. The watering schedule that actually works. Water deeply once at planting, once a week for the first 4 to 6 weeks while roots establish, then reduce to once every 2 weeks, then once a month, then stop completely except during extended drought, 3 or more weeks with 0 rainfall. By year 2, you should almost never be supplementing water for lavender in most U.S. climates. If you're watering lavender every week in its second season, you're overwatering it. The plant is telling you it can handle more than you're giving it credit for. Secret number 2, and I told you this one surprises people. Here it is. Throw away half your garden soil. The richer your soil, the more compost, the more amendments, the more fertility, the faster your lavender dies. This is the secret that feels the most wrong when you first hear it, because everything in conventional gardening tells you richer soil grows better plants. For lavender, the opposite is true. Rich, fertile soil causes lavender to grow soft and leggy. That soft growth is vulnerable to fungal disease, to winter damage, and to the rot that kills it from the roots up. Poor, gritty, lean soil forces lavender to grow the way it evolved: compact, woody, drought-resistant, and resilient. The mix that works: 2 parts coarse sand or fine gravel to 1 part garden soil. Nothing else. No compost, no slow-release fertilizer, no moisture-retaining amendments. That's the whole recipe. If your existing garden soil is heavy clay, don't try to amend your way out of it. Build a raised mound above it. A 6 to 8 inch raised mound of the gritty mix above clay soil solves the drainage problem without excavation. And drainage is the other half of the soil equation. Lavender roots sitting in water, even briefly, begin rotting. Fast-draining soil eliminates that risk entirely. Secret number 1, the foundation everything else sits on. Stop treating lavender like a plant that needs you. That's the whole secret. Most gardeners are wired to nurture. Check on plants regularly, water when dry, feed when slow, protect from extremes. That instinct is right for almost everything in your garden. It's exactly wrong for lavender. Lavender needs intentional neglect. Once it's established, your primary job is to stay away from it. The gardeners who grow lavender most successfully are the ones who get the conditions right once and then largely leave it alone. The ones who keep intervening are the ones who keep losing it. What that looks like in practice? You plant it in the correct gritty soil mix. You pick the right variety for your zone, you water it through its establishment period, and then step back. You prune it twice a year, never into the wood. You stop adding compost, fertilizer, or amendments to its bed. You stop watering it on any schedule. You check on it occasionally, but you do not intervene unless something is clearly and severely wrong. That's the complete lavender care system. It's mostly a list of things you stop doing rather than things you start doing, and that's what makes it so counterintuitive for most gardeners. Now, the mistake I promised at the beginning, the one that kills lavender permanently, instantly and without warning: pruning in fall. Not just late pruning, any significant pruning after late summer in cooler climates. Here's what happens. You prune lavender in September or October. It looks overgrown, you want to tidy it up before winter. The pruning stimulates new, soft growth. That new, soft growth doesn't have time to harden before the first frost arrives. The frost hits that tender new growth and kills it. And in killing the new growth, it exposes the crown to cold it wouldn't have experienced if the foliage had been left intact as protection. That's how lavender goes from apparently healthy in September to completely dead by November, with no other explanation. You pruned at the wrong time, you triggered new growth, the frost finished it. The rule: do your significant pruning in early summer after the first bloom. Do a light shaping pass in early fall, no later than early September in zones 5 through 7. After that, leave it alone until the following summer. The plant knows what it's doing going into winter. Your job is to not interrupt it. That one timing rule saves more lavender from sudden, unexplained death than any single piece of advice on this list. And now you know it. 5 secrets, counting down from 5 to 1. Right variety for your climate zone, never cut into the woody base, stop watering once it's established, grow it in poor, gritty soil with no amendments, and treat it like a plant that doesn't need you. Get all 5 right, and lavender stops being the plant you keep replacing every 2 years and starts being something that grows in your garden for the next 20. Drop a comment with your zone and which secret surprised you most. And if building a truly low-maintenance, productive garden interests you, I have a video on the 7-tree food forest system that works on the same principle. Set it up right once, then largely leave it alone.